Hello and welcome to another Studio Sunday Spotlight. I'm your host, Gianna Andrews, and this week I spoke with Erin Oostra. Erin is a contemporary fine artist and she creates modern paintings inspired by the mountains and all that Central Washington has to offer. Erin not only is a professional artist, but she also owns and runs her own gallery called New Wave. I honestly don't know how she does it all, but her portfolio of work is amazing. And the work she's doing in the community of Ellensburg in building this gallery and bringing people together is truly inspiring. We talk about how Erin has found her place and home in Central Washington, what inspires her about the future, and everything that she's up to with the gallery and more. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. And with that, let's dive into it. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm excited to talk to you and nice to finally connect on a call. So, Erin, welcome to Studio Sundays. Thank you for being here.
You. Yes.
Yeah, so where you're based in Ellensburg, that's correct?
Yes. I've lived in Ellensburg for about 3.5 years. And before that, I was in the Seattle area, like downtown Seattle.
Okay, and you're originally from Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what brought you down here to the States from Calgary?
I was 10 years old, so I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
really have much say in it. My dad just worked for an international company, so they moved us down here. And I am so glad that they did. I love it here in Washington. Alberta obviously is beautiful as well, but I was kind of more in the plains of Alberta over in Calgary. And then we moved to like the foresty Seattle area. And then now I'm kind of back in the plains, still close to the mountains, but in the plains of Washington.
Yeah, well, it's nice over in Ellensburg too because you get that sun more than the Seattle area, a lot
Yeah.
less rain.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really fell in love with Ellensburg was like, oh, I actually feel a little bit happier here just because it's the sun is there. It really affects you.
Totally. Yeah, it makes a difference. I think I lived in Montana for 4 years and I was like, wow, I didn't know I could feel like this during the winter with
Yeah.
all this sun. Have you always been creative? What was your kind of like your childhood and relationship with creativity? Or is it something that you found later in life?
I was always creative. I was always making something, coloring something, cutting out snowflakes, making fake magazines, like anything creative. That was always probably my hobby of choice. And then I didn't ever really think about being an artist though. I studied graphic design because I was told like art doesn't really make money, so you should just think about another career. It never was like don't do it. It was just like just keep in mind that artists are generally poor.
Hmm.
So I studied graphic design because I felt like that was a perfect mix of art and business, and I still do it and really enjoy it. But my journey to being an artist was started in graphic design school. A lot of my classmates were artists on the side or former artists looking to start making money finally. So I started kind of just doodling with them, having art nights and volunteering with some different art programs, and that got me started in the kind of like the more of the painting realm.
And where did you go to school?
I went to Seattle Central Community College. They have a really amazing creative academy.
Hmm.
Um, and they were focusing specifically when I went there on photography and graphic design, which I think they still are, but they might have some more programs now.
So you did graphic design, you majored in that, and then how did you find your way into being a professional artist?
I so I graduated and I worked for Nordstrom corporate for a while, and then I worked for another small creative app. And I was always painting on the side. It started when I was volunteering for this thing that my friend and I started, which was called Soul Societies, where we were bringing art supplies to a local shelter for guys in a recovery program. The goal there was just to provide them with a space to be creative. There's a lot of guys there with creative talents, but they didn't have the time or space or encouragement to really pursue those. So I weekly was painting there with them. I was teaching them to paint, even though they weren't that great. I wasn't that great, but it kind of was like a forced learning. I also was hiking a lot at the time, and so my friends and I would bring little watercolors to the top of a mountain and do a little painting at the top and then hike down. So just kind of always painting on the side. And that grew into, wow, I kind of have a lot of paintings on hand. Let me just see if I can sell them to friends and family if they want to buy them. And obviously for a very low cost.
Mhm.
And that is kind of how I started painting a lot more and selling and figuring out what my style was. And as I just kept sharing, mostly on social media, that was when Instagram was just show one photo. That's pretty much all you
Yeah.
can do. Um, that just started to grow and it became more and more of a joy in my life. And it was always on the side. I was in the corporate world for like 8 years. So I was doing graphic design and just kind of building a collection here and there, showing it at a coffee shop or a restaurant or a shop like Venue, and then eventually getting into galleries probably around 2019, 2020 is when I was kind of taking it a little bit more seriously when I was in the Seattle area. Um, that still was it's still a hobby. It's kind of scary to turn your hobby into a job. That's
Yeah.
something that you rely on for income. So for a long time, I was just like, I'm just gonna keep it like a side thing. And then COVID happened. I moved to Ellensburg because it was more affordable and I had more space and it was sunnier, like we just talked about. And it kind of felt like Calgary, just with the landscape. And it's also a rodeo city. Calgary is a rodeo city. So just kind of felt like home. Uh, from there, I was just working from home a lot, started painting more and more, sharing it more and more. And then that leads me to going full time in the art world. I met this awesome couple, Lee and Emily, who run Fortuity Cellars, and I started doing some painting projects over at their property, doing live paintings during their wine events, and developed a relationship from there. They then asked me about a year later if I was interested in opening an art gallery as a joint space with them opening a wine tasting room in Ellensburg. And I was like, honestly, never have thought about it. Art is still a side hustle. It's fun,
Wow.
but well, I don't know. Um, but I don't know if how what your careers have been besides art, but there's I was feeling stuck where I was and not really passionate about kind of the projects I was working on. Like I liked it generally, but I felt like there was something more. And after kind of wrestling with this opportunity that was presented to me, I decided, I was like, okay, you know what? This doesn't just, people don't just offer this. Awesome partners don't just come up. I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna give it a shot. And so it was 2022 January when I launched full time into being, I guess a professional artist slash just full time artist.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how professional, but I try.
Yeah. Well, I feel that. I think when that's your only job, I think you're a professional
Yeah,
artist.
yeah.
It's cool how to hear, because I was wondering like how you got started with that gallery and how that came about. And so it's pretty crazy that like that opportunity came about and you weren't even like full time yet, even though clearly you have like the talent and all of that. It's like you're still doing this other job. And then they're like, hey, do you want to open this art gallery? Because I feel like a lot of artists don't typically um, open a gallery until they're like established. Not that
Yeah.
you weren't, but like until like you reach this point in your career where you're like, I don't want to show at anyone else's galleries. I'm gonna have my own gallery. I've been showing my art for 20 years, and it's really amazing how it like came about for you, hand in hand. And I don't know, it's just cool how things and opportunities come up like that when it's like this clear path of like this is kind of where you're meant to go. Like, are you going to follow
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So how has it been in the last 2 years, I guess, pretty much of like running the gallery, of being a full-time artist? Has it exceeded your expectations? Like, how do you feel?
I feel good. I think it's a roller coaster of emotions because now I've gone from having that reliable paycheck at kind of a not super thrilling job to relying on myself. So there's a little bit more of emotion in everything that happens. I think it's like a small business does a little happy dance whenever someone buys something or like genuinely do that.
Yes,
Um,
I love that.
because yeah, it's good. I've been able to take all the things that I've learned from working in marketing and the corporate world to apply it to the gallery, but also to my like Erin Oostra business. I guess you would say I have two businesses. One of them I just call like Erin Oostra Art, and the other one is New Wave Gallery. And Erin Oostra Art, it feels weird to say that, but that's what it is. Uh, has I've been kind of doing that for the last 7 years just on the side. And then New Wave Gallery is kind of like the new baby uh, that has been open for just about a year now. And that one is a little bit more community focused. And the difference there is like I'm showing my art at New Wave and I can obviously just like give myself a show whenever I want. But after coming through COVID, and one of the reasons I decided to go for this opportunity was that I wanted to have a community. I wanted to help build that community. I wanted to have a space where people could gather. And so that's where it's also nice to have the partnership with Fortuity. So it's not just kind of like a steel gallery where you're in and you're out. It's somewhere where you can linger and sit, and the art changes every month, 2 months. And I can build relationships with people or people can just pass through. So what's exciting has been that as I have stepped into just being like, all right, I'm doing this, I've been able to find opportunities where I can get involved with Ellensburg. One of the more exciting ones is that I joined the Arts Commission. So that's basically a volunteer position for the city, helping determine how the city spends its money dedicated to the arts. And Ellensburg has just become, as of honestly, like 3 days ago, we found out that it's going to be a certified art district of Washington.
Oh, that's
So,
exciting.
yeah, I think what's encouraging is like as I've taken these steps, the city that I live in is also on the same path and excited about putting the arts forward and bringing people to our city for art. And I just feel like I stepped in the door at the right time and I'm able to have a seat at the table to help kind of guide and build what that looks like for the future. So it's more than Erin Ostra art. It is Erin Ostra and New Wave and Ellensburg.
It seems like that timing is, yeah, like everything kind of has lined up for you in that way. And then also probably with COVID, like more people are moving out of Seattle, moving
Mhm.
into the outskirts like Ellensburg. So I'd imagine like Ellensburg must be a growing area.
Yeah.
So a good place for a new gallery as well.
Yeah, and everybody here has been really welcoming,
That's great.
which is nice. And we all have the same mission of just like bringing the arts to people, and bringing people together. It's a really great space to be.
That's awesome. So you're basically running two businesses, one with the help of Fortuity sellers. Um, how is that going as far as like your time and your day and like balancing creating art and running a gallery? Do you have admin help on the side of the gallery? Is it all you right now? How are you navigating that?
So I only have one main person that I pay, and that's my tax accountant because I am so scared to do anything wrong with that. So that was one of the first things I did when I went full time was find an awesome tax person to kind of help me along with that. Um, the way we have it set up with Fortuity Sellers Tasting Room and New Wave Gallery is we kind of we split the rent in a way, but I essentially rent the wall space and they rent the floor space. So that means that they're taking care of having a staff person for the hours that we're open. So I'm there as much as I can, but the nice thing is that I don't have to be. So that does give me a little bit of freedom to be at home working on art, doing my admin stuff. I do all of that. I feel like my previous jobs have equipped me for that. And I'm still learning and growing. I think the ups and downs come with I I'm just learning. Like it's only been my first year and I have to remind myself that I could have gone to school and like got an MBA in business and like maybe had a little bit more of a leg up, or I could just jump right in and learn on the go. So, with every dollar I spend in kind of investing into this business, I'm like, this is me getting my MBA. I split the space with Fortuity and that works really well. We're able to collaborate on different events and we're able to share our customer base. So I can introduce all my friends and fans to Fortuity and vice versa. And then I also do work there a couple days a week just because I'm there anyway. And I love wine and learning about wine. And I think it's another art form in itself.
Are you able to create art in that space at all, or is that all happening at your own studio and then you're there in person, like on the
Yeah.
floor?
I can create there. There's a good spot to do it, and I have done some live painting there. And my intention was to kind of like be there live painting all the time. But I find that I kind of just get distracted and when you're maybe everybody's different and I do live painting and I enjoy it, but generally, painting for me is a very solo experience, and I like to focus and just kind of get lost, and when I'm in the space, I like to talk to people and engage with people, and people have questions, and so it's just like a totally different experience, and I feel like the paintings kind of turn out a little bit differently when I'm working in the new wave space, so usually I work at home, and then just kind of bring it in or bring it to wherever it needs to go.
What projects are you excited that are coming up with New Wave and also collections you're building right now?
Um, so I think one of the main things that I'm excited about that I touched on briefly was just getting more involved with the certified arts district, being on the arts commission, and my focus is the Ellensburg Art Walk, which happens on the first Friday of every month. Um, we just met yesterday, all of the people involved with the art walk. Um, so I think it's been really encouraging and exciting to see. My intention of opening the gallery was to build community, and seeing that start to really happen, that that's been awesome. And I think there's a lot we can do together to kind of circulate people through the town and get excited about the arts and kind of help break that barrier that I think a lot of people have, that art is just for rich white people.
Mhm.
uh so we've been able to kind of start brainstorming on that as a collective, which has been exciting and something that we're really pursuing this year as a group. Um, One of the main things that I'm shifting my focus to in 2024, I think so in 2023, I kind of like jumped off the cliff and was like, I'm full time. Now I have time to like send all the emails and get all the sales and do all the commission work. And I at the end of the year, I kind of found myself feeling like I am so sick of selling. Like I'm a artist. Like I
Mhm.
I have marketing background, but like I don't want to sell. Like
Yeah.
we're scrolling on Instagram or whatever every day, and we're constantly being sold to, and it doesn't feel good when it happens to you, and it doesn't really feel good to do it. So I took some time to think about, okay, what do I want to do? How obviously I need to sell art to pay my bills now, but how do I do that in a way that is more genuine to me? So the idea that I have that I'm going to be pursuing this year is kind of not selling a thing like a painting or a collection, is more of helping curate like the feeling in someone's home. So thinking about art as a whole, as it's connected to the wall or the room, um, meaning, as example, I have my own home finally, which is like such a blessing. And I have spent the last 3.5 years putting it together, and I'm still putting it together. Um, but it's more than just like putting a painting on the wall. It's like, okay, why does this go here? What colors go well in this area? Maybe I can like change the background or paint the wall a different color that makes the painting stand out a little bit more. So um I'm trying to step back, and this is still kind of new for me, but thinking about the whole space and the energy that a painting or art piece by me or anyone else would give to a space.
Yeah, I love that, and I feel like that really aligns with, like, you have such this really beautiful, cohesive, like, interiors style that, like, all the kind of interior shots with your art in the rooms that I've seen is just like the room is matching the painting really well, and it's all this like complementary scene, and how that really plays to that fine art side and like that collector side. So I feel like you do a really good job of that, and I love that idea for you. And I recently saw something that was like, stop putting calls to action on your, like, Instagram posts or whatever you're posting, and, like, more just, like, show people. Because have you ever had the experience where, and this is, I think, probably how you started selling your art on social media and how I did too, is, like, I literally didn't have a website set up. I would just, like, post
Mhm.
a painting. I had no way to sell this, and then people DM me asking, "How can I buy this?" And
Yeah.
that's, like, the ideal. Obviously, there's so much more
Mhm.
being sold on there now, so, like, it's harder to
Yeah.
break through the noise, but, like,
Yeah.
how can you just, like, create, like, the branding, the aesthetic, so, like, people are coming to you wanting that and creating that, kind of, like, desirability.
I don't know, I'm sure you feel this way too, of just feeling bombarded every time you're on social media of like needing to buy something, and
Yeah.
it kind of just feels gross.
It's changed a lot, and yeah, I actually deleted, I was like, last week I was like, I need to stop just, like, scrolling on my phone, like, even just watching people's stories, like, it's the middle of winter, it's just, like,
Mhm.
not serving me right now,
Yeah.
and so I've had it deleted since Thursday, just, like, the app off my phone.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have a post I have to do later this week, but I'm like, "This is so nice." I'm,
It
like,
is so
free.
nice.
And I saw that you took all of January off of, Instagram or maybe social media
Yeah.
in general. Was that kind of related to this, like, introspection of, like, how do you wanna approach,
Mhm.
the business side, the marketing side. Tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's really what drove it. And also, yeah, I just feel like I spend too much time on my phone.
Mhm.
And it's like obviously I spend time getting inspired too. It's not all just empty content. There's a lot of great stuff out there, but I'd find myself just getting lost in there and or suddenly buying a pair of socks or something that I didn't really need. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I wanted to figure out what what avenue felt good for me and what inspires me, and I think it worked, and it does make me want to spend less time on there. It's a great tool to show and share, but I think, a lot of conversations I also have with artists, that I know here is like it's like, "Well, this reel is going great. Let's, like, get on this trend, blah, blah, blah," and I just was like so I randomly, like, got a lot of followers from reels, and then it has totally tapered off, and it kind of took the fun out of it. I was just like, "Wait, even if I get a bunch of followers, that doesn't relate to, like, I wanna connect with people. I wanna help them build a space. I don't need followers. I need, um,
Human connection.
humans." Yeah.
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 Totally.
So that helped refocus me. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing it too, and I probably will do it again shortly, but it's nice to be on there because there is a lot of great connections that happen through social media too.
There are. I feel like it is kind of this double-edged sword, and I myself too have taken a big step back, in 2023 and kind of into this year of, like, posting. I got some, like I had some, like, influencing deals in 2022 that were fun and, like, it was good payment, but, like, I was like, "This isn't really why I'm here. I'm here to, like, more be an artist and not, like,
Yeah.
sell the persona of being an artist," and
Yeah.
because of that, I had to do all this
Exactly.
posting, and then, yeah, I've just, like I feel like there used to be more human connection on there, like, I used to feel like I was having genuine conversations
Yeah.
with, like, messaging, and now there's so many ads and it's just changed a lot and the landscape's changed that I think that's why I'm, like, pursuing other avenues too with, like, the newsletter and the podcast of, like,
Yeah.
how can I, like, connect with other people that are, like, looking to live a meaningful life? Like, that's what matters to me.
Do you feel like more fulfilled now in that avenue or like how's that been going for you?
I think it's hard, because there's always gonna be that, like, whisper, like, "Oh, you should post or, like, create
Yeah.
content for this." But I think just, like, my values maybe as, like, a human have changed too, and, like, I wanna create meaningful work, and that's not happening once a day, like, that's happening that takes time, like, sometimes that could
Mhm.
take a month, like, you can't really control the flow
Yeah.
of, like, great ideas, so,
Yeah.
it's a give and take, but yeah, I'm excited for you to, continue to develop your kind of, like, curation because I feel like you're really good at that, like, you could be an interior designer.
Thank you. Yes, I know. That's somewhat of the direction that I'm being pulled in, and I wouldn't say exactly interior designer, although if I had another career and knew a little bit more and was educated in that realm, I totally would do it. Um, but I think the title that I'm kind of coming up with right now is more like wall consultant. Limit it to walls for now.
Yes.
My TV show of choice is like an HGTV show. I love seeing the before and after. I love how those surface level things can just totally change a space and make someone feel at home. So this is me kind of like dipping my toe into that realm. Maybe down the road, we can re-listen to this in 10 years and maybe I'm an interior designer.
Perfect. We'll rerun it in let's say 5. 10's
Okay.
pushing it. So, what advice would you give to somebody that is considering starting a career as an artist? And
Um,
maybe leaving a corporate job like you like
yeah,
making that leap?
yeah. I think what really helped me was having that corporate job to start because I was able to build a lot of skills that I use now to run my own business. I mean, and no, people don't have to have the corporate job, but like if you have it, whatever job you have, like learn as much as you can from that job and save money. Because it does cost a lot to start your own thing, especially brick and mortar. There's there's so much that I'm learning every day. Everything goes slower than you think. So then it's also nice to kind of have a secondary income as long as you can. Um, Towards the end, when I knew I was gonna open New Wave, I think it was the last 4 months of 2022, I was able to work half-time, so 20 hours a week instead of 40. So I was able to kind of slide into a full-time art career, but still know that in the beginning, like, my bills are for sure paid. Um, so I think just leaning into wherever you are and taking as many lessons as you can from that and learning how to communicate and um build relationships. I think those are really important and save your money so you can invest it into yourself.
Yeah, one of the best investments you can make for sure once you have
Yeah.
like that plan and the vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, I'm glad I started that way. Everybody has a different path. Um And I think we all, I don't know, maybe I feel like an imposter. I think everybody does at one point or another, uh, especially because I still feel so new at this, but
Mhm.
I think just taking it day by day, step by step, and just continuing to improve and knowing that you're gonna mess up, but it's okay.
Some artists that I've talked to, they're like, when I started first doing full-time art, like those first couple years, I was like constant hustle. Are you kind of in a constant hustle phase of like constantly working, or do you feel like you have a work-life balance right now?
So looking at the last year, it's like a mix of both. What I've been doing has been, like, working every day for weeks, months, and then take 2 or 3 weeks off. Like, I think that's how I've been finding balance and been able to take advantage of working for myself. I do feel like I work all the time. I get up early, and then even if I'm just, like, watching TV at night, I'm, like, on my computer answering emails or whatever. Um, but then that does leave me the opportunity to go travel for a couple weeks and not be as responsive just because I took care of as much as I can beforehand for the last 3 months.
Like, yeah, you're not getting PTO when you're traveling, but like that time's all yours and you're not like
Mhm.
you're your only boss, so no one's getting mad
Yeah.
at you for like being gone.
Yeah.
Well, your work is beautiful. I love seeing everything you're putting out with New Wave. I mean, the whole vibe of everything, like I said, the aesthetic has just been cool to watch grow, and I'm excited to come see it one day.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully you can come share your work there someday.
I know. I would really love that. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.